Hi, welcome to this video. In this video, I will talk about the energies and astrological transits of Gemini season. I'm Verena Borell, and my work is based on evolutionary astrology, my intuitive guidance, and I'm also studying somatic experiencing with Somatic Experiencing International to bring astrology really into the body and into our life and connect soul and soma. So let's get started with this video about Gemini season 2024. The sun moved into Gemini. Probably when you see it, it already happened because I'm recording the video on May 22nd, and the sun moved into Gemini on May 20th. And there are some other dates that I wanted to share with you. So we have 3 days after the sun's ingress into Gemini, we have a full moon in Sagittarius on May 23rd. Then a couple of hours after the full moon, Venus moves from Taurus into Gemini too. Jupiter will go into Gemini after 1 year with Jupiter in Taurus. Jupiter will leave Taurus and go into Gemini on May 25th or 26th. It depends on your time zone. And then Mercury ingresses into Gemini on June 3rd. And we have a Venus Cazimi. Venus is building her exterior conjunction, so her conjunction with the sun, where she is furthest away from the earth in the underworld on June 4th. And then we have the new moon in Gemini on, let's see, on June 6th. So these are the most important dates, but don't get irritated with them. I will dive deeper into the topics, and it's more, I like to speak more about the energies and less about the nitty-gritty details that we see in the charts. So we are diving into Gemini season with a lot of Taurus energy. So at the beginning of Gemini season, we still have Jupiter, Uranus, Venus, and Mercury in Taurus. I can show you the chart for the full moon in Sagittarius, where you really can see how much Taurus energy we still have in the field at the beginning of Gemini season this year. So you see that we have the full moon in 2° Gemini, 55 minutes, and the moon is in 2° Sagittarius, 55 minutes. And we see that the ruler of the moon, of the Sagittarius moon, which is Jupiter, and the ruler of the sun in Gemini, which is Mercury, are both in Taurus. And we also had the exact Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Taurus. In April, Jupiter is now in a new phase conjunction to Uranus. You can watch my Taurus season video where I share more about that. And Venus is also still conjunct Jupiter in Taurus during this new moon, during this full moon, and is approaching her conjunction with the sun. So you see there is a lot of, and of course, Mercury, the ruler of the sun in Gemini, is in Taurus too. You see there is a lot of Taurus energy in the field. They also built a trine to Ceres, who is retrograde in Capricorn, and a trine to Black Moon Lilith, who is in Virgo, and also Juno, who is in Virgo. So even though we are diving into this young air energy of Gemini, and we have the Sagittarius full moon, Sagittarius, the opposite sign of Gemini, what is fire and yang. So we are in mutable energies now. We are in air energy Gemini with the full moon. In fire energy, we are in a yang energy. But we have still this very intense Taurus energy in the field at the beginning of Gemini season. And Taurus is fixed earth and yin. And this year in 2024, the Taurus energy was, especially now in the spring, such a huge, important evolutionary topic for us on an individual and, of course, on a collective level, because we had, it's indicated in the cosmos. So I don't see it like that transits and planets are causing energies. I see that we are all dancing together, and astrology is so beautiful because astrology helps us to see what kind of energies are in the field by knowing about the planets and their archetypal energies. But it's actually not a linear cause and effect. So the planets are not causing something that is happening here on planet Earth. We are all in this together, and we are all dancing together in an evolutionary dance. And the planets reflect or indicate what is actually in the field. So we are all connected. And now the planets indicated that we have this huge Taurus lessons in the field in this spring. And I highly recommend you to watch my Taurus season video if you want to dive deeper into that. I try to break it down, so it's really much, and I mean, you know it when you consciously feel into your last weeks. It was very much about reclaiming a new relationship with your body, with the earth, with your resources, maybe this need and urge to slow down, to really think in different ways about your productivity and your capacity, and really trusting more and more your own pace in this fast-paced, very unnatural world. It was very much about, or it is still very much about, relating in a new way to your body, connecting more with your body, which is the earth, coming back to your true nature, feeling what your values are, feeling what your natural needs are, really taking care of your own capacity. Finally feel that your soul and spirit decided to incarnate in a body on planet Earth, and that your body is actually, you cannot do anything without it. And I think that there is a rise in consciousness about we are part of the earth and we are earthly beings. And I think that especially this grounding, coming back, what is true and natural for you, what are your needs, what are your basic needs, more simplicity was one of the most important messages that I received from my intuitive guides. And this whole Taurus energy, Jupiter-Uranus, happened in conjunction to my Taurus sun. So this collective transit was very personal, or is still very personal for me. So it's really about simplifying your life. If you reduce things that are not in alignment, that are not valuable for you, that you don't truly need, then you make space for more what brings you joy and for abundance. So one of the most important messages during this Taurus season, and during all the time with Jupiter approaching Uranus and Taurus, and also the whole Jupiter and Taurus transit the whole last year, was very much about really understanding that simplicity is the key to abundance, and that less is often more, and inviting more joy and pleasure and grounding and connection to your body and the earth, and really getting very clear what you truly need, what are your physical needs, what are your values. And I think that we really need this centering and grounding when we now dive into Gemini season, not only because we are diving into Gemini season as every year, but also because Jupiter will leave Taurus and move into Gemini. And you find a complete video, I think 40 or 45 minutes, where I, together with my dear friend, astrologer Jonathan Coe, talk about Jupiter and Gemini. So I highly recommend you watch the video about Jupiter and Gemini. It comes out on May 26th. Whenever you watch this video now, maybe it's already out there and you find it on my channel, on my YouTube channel, or it will come soon, then subscribe to my channel so you get the announcement when the video about Jupiter in Gemini is coming out. Okay, so there is a lot more Gemini energy coming in. And what does that mean? In Gemini, we leave, and I will say it's a huge opportunity with Gemini season. And on the other hand, there are some challenges. I will dive deeper into that. What is Gemini reflecting, standing for? Gemini is really the curiosity that leads us through our life. So without Gemini curiosity, we would not evolve and not learn and not do anything. So it's really when you look the toddler that is curious for life and that wants to understand everything and taste or taste everything is maybe Taurus, or learn everything. It wants to speak, it wants to communicate. So, and without curiosity, you would actually not learn, grow, and evolve. So Gemini is really the curiosity that leads you through your life, that makes you constantly evolve and learn. And in Gemini, it's young, it's air, it's mutable. We ask questions. We want to understand. We communicate. It's a very open, very, in a way, light too. It feels more up in the air. It's a little bit, it's more buzzing. It's a buzzing energy. It's about, connecting the dots, asking questions. You already notice when I'm speaking that I go into this Gemini frequency. My voice rises a little bit. I feel actually uplifted in my seat when I talk about Gemini. My hands are moving faster. Gemini is connected to the hands too. And it's very much about being curious, being kind, being open, accepting different opinions. In Gemini, we know there are as many answers as we have questions. And you actually can find reasons for every opinion. So Gemini is really about acceptance and about open curiosity. And I think when I think about Jupiter in Gemini, Jupiter will be in Gemini until May 2025. On a collective level, we really need more curiosity and more acceptance. More about that in my Jupiter and Gemini video. But you already noticed maybe when I talk about Gemini that it's a lot. And in Gemini, we can get very confused because you can find reasons for any opinion. So what is actually the truth? So we need, and it's good that we have the Sagittarius full moon right at the beginning of Gemini season, because in Sagittarius, we know what we know without knowing why we know it. Sagittarius is about our intuition, about our inner guidance, and so much more, but I don't want to dive super deep into Sagittarius. If you want to learn more about the astrological archetypes, I highly recommend booking one of my courses or doing a one-on-one mentoring to learn astrology with me. But I think that there is this huge calling on the one hand to, as every year during the full moon in Sagittarius, really dig into or connect with your inner guidance, connect with what feels true to you. In Gemini, we learn that we cannot think ourselves out of problems. So we will not find the answer with our mind and with our intellect and with our left brain. Sagittarius, the opposite sign, emphasized by this full moon, helps us to really trust our intuition and feel what the truth is. And This Sagittarius full moon is especially powerful, I think, because it happens not only with this heavy Taurus energies, but also we had not only the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, but we also had a Jupiter Cazimi, Jupiter's yearly conjunction with the Sun happening, I think, a couple of days. Let me see. It was, I think, 5 days before the full moon. So I have the feeling that this full moon in Sagittarius, which is also sextiling Pluto, who is currently retrograde in Aquarius, is really about feeling deeply that you are on a crossroad, that it's time to take a new direction, that it's time to open up to new possibilities, who are in alignment with Taurus, your values, what is sustainable for you, what you truly need and want, what is in alignment with your body and your capacity, and really opening yourself up to new directions. There is a forward movement in the field. Even though we are in Taurus, it's a slow forward movement, but it's a forward movement. Mars is also in a new phase conjunction to the North Node in Aries at the time around the Sagittarius full moon at the beginning of Gemini season. So there is this, okay, we are coming out of this heavy Taurus energy. We are now leaving our Taurus safe, secure, comfortable garden. We are seeking, we are going into new directions, but we are not rushing into the new. We are feeling the earth underneath our feet. We are feeling every step we take. We are sensing with our body wisdom what direction we need to go. We are also in our Gemini brain and we open up and we are curious for more, but we root it down, we bring it down. So in the first half of Gemini season, if you feel confused, if you feel overwhelmed, I highly recommend you connect with your body wisdom, connect with your intuitive guidance, ground yourself, bring more simplicity and calmness into your life. So both rulers of the Gemini sun and of the Sagittarius moon are in Taurus. Really, maybe if you journal, look at your journal from Taurus season. What have you learned in Taurus season? What have you learned over the last weeks in regard to your values, to your fundamental needs, to what is really essential for you? And where are you making your life actually more confusing because you try to do all the things? And then the energy shifts a little bit. Then, as I said, Venus enters Gemini right after the full moon. Jupiter enters Gemini on the 25th, 26th. Mercury enters Gemini on June 3rd. And then we have the Venus Cazimi and then the new moon. I think that, and I show you the chart for the Venus Cazimi because I think that that's actually a good one, or of the new moon. I show you the new moon chart. So this is the new moon in Gemini. You see, it's shortly 2 days after Venus had her conjunction with the sun. And you see at the moment of the new moon in Gemini, Venus is still conjunct very, very closely by degree, not by minute, with the sun and the moon. And the ruler of Gemini, Mercury, is in Gemini and Jupiter is already in Gemini. And what's interesting is that Venus, Sun, and Moon build a trine to the South Node in Libra. Venus is the ruler of the South Node in Libra. And we have a trine between Jupiter in Gemini and Pluto. And what is really, really interesting is that we have the square to Saturn and Pisces. So that was standing out for me, the square from the planets in Gemini to Saturn and Pisces. I also want to point out that this is the chart from the Venus Cazimi. We already have the square to Saturn. And at that time, the Moon is in Taurus, and we have a grand Earth trine between asteroid goddess Juno in Virgo, Ceres retrograde in Capricorn, she's the dwarf planet, and the Moon. So I think that this new Moon in Gemini in a trine to the South Node and in close conjunction to Venus, and before that, the Venus Cazimi, it's very much about new, again, shifts within your relationships. So we are working on a personal and on a collective level with relationships since the South Node went into Libra and the North Node went into Aries in summer 2023. Since that time, it's very much about stepping into your leadership role, becoming the leader of your own life, Aries, and healing and releasing topics and issues in our relationship. That this might be codependencies or people-pleasing, fawning, where you thought you need to adapt and please and appease in order to be loved and to be saved and to survive. All of these old patterns, trauma responses, coping mechanisms, we are working on them. We learn to step more and more into our true authentic Aries self and bravely and courageously lead our own life. And this brings a lot of rupture in our relationships. I talked since last summer about these topics. And now with this new Moon in Gemini, with Venus Cazimi in Gemini, all in the trine to the South Node, I have the feeling that there is a new openness. Maybe you have lost friendships and relationships over the last months. Maybe now new people come into your life. Maybe you are curious to meet new people. Maybe there's something opening up inside of yourself where you think, wow, okay, I'm actually curious to communicate, to talk, to open up to new friends. And maybe it's also about, not only about really friends, community, relationships, people who come into your life. It might also be the case that it is about ideas. So maybe you are pondering upon questions or problems or issues, and now you actually see possibilities that you have never thought about, or new opportunities come into your life that you have never thought about or that you have not yet seen because you have not been able to see them. So there is an openness. There is an opening. There is, in a way, movement. It's a mutable energy. There's movement in the field. It's funny because I'm traveling around that time too. So to meet actually people. So I'm actually curious for this time. There is an opening, and I think that it is very, very important that we don't forget about the Saturn square. So you might be confronted with thinking about Saturn. On the one hand, you might be confronted with expectations in regard to the rules and roles that you have played in your relationships in the past. So this topic about, okay, who do I think I need to be? What does my friends, family, society expect me to be? This might be a topic for you, so that you really notice, and Saturn is in Pisces, which is all about solving and healing and dissolution. I think dissolving, I think that there is a lot of, okay, I feel ready to release this old stuff. I feel ready to release these old rules and roles that I thought I need to play. And I'm really curious, who am I? Who am I? Who actually fits to me? Who I want to be? And I think that it might help to be not very harsh with oneself when there is this who am I, which can feel very, very scary. We are talking about Gemini meets Pisces. That can be very, okay, I'm the all that is and I'm the nothing, and who am I actually? So this can be very, very scary, and also it can be very, very fun. So maybe if questions like that come up, explore it with like a child and with curiosity. Because in Gemini we learn you have so many facets and so many sides. You can actually be who you want to be. Not completely, and I know it's multi-layered, and I know there's trauma and there's stuff and there, but just allow yourself to tap into this Gemini magician energy for a little second. There are many, many, many ways you can live, you can be, you can behave. And with Saturn, it's really asking us, okay, what do you think you have to do? What do you think who you have to be? And what do you actually want to? And also, I think maybe you are again confronted with these external expectations. And maybe it's time to say, okay, now I step into my self-authority, Saturn, in a very healthy way. On the other hand, I think that I really love that there are these squares with Saturn. I'm saying that now. I don't know how I will feel when it happens, but I think the Saturn square slows the energy down in a good way. Because Gemini, and as a person with a lot of Gemini energy, I know how challenging Gemini energy can be. Gemini energy can be so quick that especially our Taurus body gets overwhelmed. Gemini can be very confusing. Gemini can be very unsettling, very up in the air. You can completely dissociate and lose your ground with Gemini and completely, forget who you are and what you need, because you have so many ideas and you are buzzing with this intellectual energy. And the square with Saturn is really, Saturn asks you, what is in alignment with your long-term goals? What do you actually want to build? Is what you are doing, maybe your new interests and your new friends and your new things, is this actually in alignment with what is good for you long term, what is sustainable? Is this helping you to build your life in a way that is in alignment with your truth and your dreams, Pisces? And I highly recommend you watch my Jupiter in Gemini video, because Jonathan talks, I recorded the video with Jonathan Coe, and Jonathan talked so beautifully about Saturn and Pisces here. So it's really about coming into alignment with your long-term dreams and your long-term goals and this inner sense of integrity. I think with Gemini, we can be this and that, and Saturn and Pisces really asks you, yeah, but what is really in alignment with your truth and with love? And what is in alignment with your integrity? And I think it's also important to mention that we have this Venus Cazimi, so it's Venus exterior conjunction. That means that it's the halfway point of the 90 months long Venus cycle. Please do my Venus cycle workshop. You find it linked below, because there I explain every phase Venus goes through. So Venus is at the beginning of the Venus cycle in her morning star phase. Then she disappears for around 90 days. She disappears from heaven, from the perspective of the earth, because she disappears behind the sun, and then she comes back as an evening star, and then a new cycle starts. As I said, learn more about Venus in my Venus cycle workshop. But now she is in her underworld phase, far away from the earth, behind the sun, and she builds her exterior conjunction, her Sun Cazimi, which is Venus is now during her Sun Cazimi farthest away from the earth, and this can come with feelings of, or no, it's a point in the story of the Venus cycle which is which is similar to the story of the old goddess Inanna, when Inanna dies and resurrects. So it's a death and rebirth process that we are currently in during this Venus Cazimi. And I also think that it happens in Gemini is actually very interesting, because I think that often our curiosity brings us into our depth and into our darkest places, into our underworld. And on the other hand, with Gemini and Venus in the underworld, we know that openings and this lightness can be often found in our underworld. And I think that with the Venus Cazimi in Gemini, in a trine to the South Node, and then in the new moon in Gemini, in a square to Saturn and Pisces, it can feel like an awakening. It can feel like, oh, okay, I'm actually relating in a completely new way to myself. And maybe it turns out that, of course, your relationships, your external relationships, are deeply intertwined with the relationships that you have to yourself. So maybe you feel at the end of Gemini season, around this new moon, around the Venus Cazimi, that there's a shift happening, how you want to relate to yourself, how you want to relate to your needs. And you learn so much about your needs and values in Taurus season. So I think that there is a new layer, a new opening, a new pathway opening up, how you want to relate to yourself, and therefore how you want to relate to others, and which people you want to invite into your life, and which people are not for you. So there's a lot going on in this internal, external relationships, I think, in the second half of Gemini season, and especially this, this opening up and coming back to yourself at the same time. So opening up Gemini and Sagittarius full moon, Jupiter, and then square to Saturn, a contraction. The Taurus energy that is at the beginning of Gemini season in the field, and coming back to yourself. So I highly recommend you to. And what I'm learning in my somatic experiencing training is also that our nervous system has these very natural rhythms of expansion and contraction, everything in nature expands and contracts. It's a cycle. And I invite you to see in Gemini season, really, when is it time for me to expand, to open up, to be curious, to be in this yang energy, and when do I need to contract in a good way, to really withdraw, to digest, to allow myself some time to settle, to feel, to breathe. You cannot think yourself out of it. Connect to your body wisdom. And especially when you have already a lot of air energy and fire energy in your energetic setup, aka your birth chart, then I highly recommend you to focus very much on grounding, on slowing down, on really doing body work and really allowing your nervous system to regenerate and to actually reduce too many stimuli. And if you are a person who is more in the fixed area, who's more maybe earthy and watery, and you have problems to actually start things, go within the Gemini flow. So really enjoy the Gemini flow, go out, open up, be more curious, be more mutable, try out new things, go into new directions. Yeah, you know yourself the best, but this is really what I would, what I suggest, or what I think is important to notice, is that Gemini season can be very quick, and with Jupiter entering Gemini, there is a lot of going on. So go with the flow, open up, be curious, go out, make new friends, open yourself up to new ideas, ask yourself how you want to relate to yourself, but also don't forget to slow down. Don't forget to take your body with you. Don't forget your Taurus values, your Taurus needs, your capacity. So we are here for this is a long journey that we are on, where it is all about coming back to your authentic self, coming back to the earth, to your body, to a more balanced relationship, leaving this very, very fast-paced and unnatural way of living, decondition, rewild, come back to your untamed parts, be curious what wants to be rewilded, and be kind to yourself and others. That's Gemini. And when you communicate and are curious for other opinions, be kind, be curious, be friendly, but don't confuse or don't think that that means that you lose your own truth. So you can listen to others and ask questions and still feel what is really authentic for you. And I think your body will tell you, and your inner guidance will tell you. And you can completely have your own opinion. You don't need to adapt to everyone. Really trust and focus what is in alignment for you. I'm curious for Gemini season, especially for the second half. I think it's a little bit difficult for me to feel into this energy of around the Gemini new moon. This feels very open. So I'm curious how you will experience it. Let me know in the show note, and let me know in the comments. I always love to read your comments below the video if it helped you, how you experience the energies, how you experience this shift from this Taurus stability into this more mutable openness, how you handle it. I gave you some tips and advice how you could handle it. I will definitely take exquisitely care of myself and my nervous system during Gemini season, really try to simplify my life even more, or stay with my Taurus season simplicity, because Gemini can be a lot. But I'm also curious to find new ways out of the things that I'm working with right now. And maybe life magically brings me new solutions and new people and new directions. So have fun in Gemini season, and also stay connected to your heart and to your body. Don't lose the ground beneath your feet, even though you might jump sometimes. Land softly and gently after jumping. And I want to invite you to a pretty new offering of mine that is very, very fitting for Gemini season. I don't know if you already know, but I'm offering one-on-one astro mentoring. In my one-on-one astro mentoring, I teach you astrology one-on-one. It's perfect for you if you have already a little bit basic knowledge or even advanced astro knowledge. And we then we create together a very personal curriculum for you. So we meet every 2 or every 3 weeks over several months, and we can explore different topics, whatever you are interested in. So one of my favorite topics that I feel very, very comfortable and I'm self-confident to teach you is evolutionary astrology, of course, life cycle transits, Venus cycle, Mercury cycle, transits in general, astrological archetypes, asteroid goddesses. I love working with the goddesses, solar return charts, composite charts, and so on. So you can contact me. You'll find the link for my astro mentoring below the video. We can meet for a free clarity call where we talk about what you want to discover. And this one-on-one astro mentoring is also perfect for you. On the one hand, if you are already an astrologer, so we can go together over charts so that you can ask me your questions, and we do like a little supervision. And also, if you are not an astrologer, but you want to weave astrology into your other holistic offerings, for example, as a coach, as a space holder, as a yoga teacher. So I'm also very, very happy to share with you and to support you how you can weave astrology into your offerings. So my Mercury is in Gemini. I have tons of ideas how you can incorporate astrology into your holistic offerings and practice. So I can totally give you this kind of support within the one-on-one astro mentoring too. So I would love to guide you, to teach you. Talking about Gemini and learning astrology, I have several workshops and courses in German and in English language. For example, my Venus cycle workshop, I have a wonderful workshop rewilding with the earth signs that I did in May with Nura Rachel. You can buy all of these workshops. They are recorded and you get the full package with additional materials right now after signing up for them. Rewilding with the earth signs was longer than 2 hours and we dive deep into the earth energy. So especially if you need some grounding during Gemini season, make our Rewilding with the Earth Signs workshop. I share somatic practices there. Nura Rachel shares breathwork there. It's really a wonderful, beautiful workshop to get in contact with your untamed inner parts through the astrological earth signs. And it's an all-level workshop, so you don't have to know anything about astrology to really, take so much out of it. And I have a moon cycle workshop, which is beautiful, and other courses and programs in German and English language. And of course, I also do one-on-one work. One of my newer offerings is my Soul and Soma guidance. I guide you over several months on the basis of evolutionary astrology and somatic experiencing. So if you are interested to really connect Soul and Soma, to not only talk about problems and talk about challenges and what is happening for you on an intellectual level, by looking at your chart and exploring it on an intellectual but also spiritual and soul level. If you want to deepen the soul experience and really drop into your body, because so much is stuck in our body or in your tissues and bones. In my Soul and Soma guidance, we also work with tools from somatic experiencing. So we really go into the felt senses, into the experience of your body. We drop from the head, in the heart, and into the body and into the bones. So I am not yet a full somatic experiencing practitioner. I'm in training, so I know exactly what I can do and what I not can do, but I can already work with very, very helpful resourcing techniques from somatic experiencing. And if you are interested in that, you find the information below the video and you can contact me and we find out together if a Soul and Soma guidance is good for you. And I also offer single sessions, evolutionary astrology. You find all information on my website. Please subscribe to my newsletter to receive for free astrology, energy updates, updates about my current offerings. My newsletter is really rich and I do it with a lot of love and care. And follow me on Instagram for daily updates. Like and subscribe my channel, share the video, comment below. I would love to be in contact with you. And yeah, have a wonderful Gemini season. And yeah, I'm seeing you soon.